Hello, everybody, and bienvenidos a las horas de oficina. What's happening, everybody? Howdy ho. It's a lovely Tuesday, isn't it? Those of you who use Sora may recognize this as my Sora shirt. This is what I did You can't call it a cameo temporarily. There's an injunction on that. Actually, I haven't looked since that injunction was passed down to see if they changed the name of Cameo in the app. I may have to update my app, I guess. No, it still says Cameos on my app. Is there an update? Or are they just in the middle of complying with the injunction? Or are they flouting the law? Flouting the law, flouting the law. No update. They're flouting the law. Hello, Rob. Hello, Kirk. Hello, Oz. Hello, every single person in the world. Got a lot of mailbags today. I'm telling you, man. So many mailbags. Let's start with Matt's, shall we? Matt writes, I'm a bit behind in listening, as always, and just listened. I don't know why I'm using this voice. It just entertained me. And just listened to the 10 November office hours where you talked about the new Pebble watch and the LCARS display. On the old Pebble Time, if you were using the LCARS display and had it set to a 24-hour clock at 5:01 p.m., that is 17:01 military time, that is 1701, as in NCC 1701, the time and numbers would change to the USS Enterprise-D for the full minute. Since I'm a few weeks behind, I apologize if you've already found or covered this, but it would be great if you could try it out and let us know if it still does it. And he included a picture of his doing it on July 28th, 2016, although the image did not transfer. The image didn't make it. It was a well-intentioned, but the image did not make it. So I found another image. Let me share this other image of a Pebble Time doing it. There it is. You can kind of see where there would be time. Where there would be time, there is an Enterprise-D. Mine, on the other hand, always has the Enterprise on it, the interface that I'm using. There are many LCARS displays. This one is mine. Actually, let me just add another camera here. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Can I? Yeah, that'll work. All right. So as you can see, mine has the Enterprise-D all the time. And every day at 5:01 p.m., I've been busy and I haven't been able to catch it. I need to set an alarm on my Pebble that makes me look. But there you go. Anyway, thank you, Matt. Can I set an alarm in the app? It's kind of hard to navigate on your wrist. Let me do, that's faces, that's apps, that's settings. I bet you can do it here. These are just notifications. Probably have to do it in here. I'll do it later. Thank you, Matt. Fred13, let us know when you get your Pebble Time too, because that one's going to be the really functional one. They really tried to get everybody to switch from this one to the Pebble Time 2. I stuck with this one because I just wanted to have a first look at the Pebble's return. And it's a decent return, but the Time 2 is going to be so much better because it's a color screen and stuff. All right. We got this one from H. Oh, speaking of H, I am remiss in not playing H's
Evolution.
Oh, no, that's not it. That's definitely not it. This.
Tom's got mail.
Thank you, H. That's Howard. As a follow-up to the Patron Monthly Bonus Show, if you are at the $10 level or up on Patreon, then you got the bonus show. Howard says, I was inspired to prompt my friend Claude into creating a new recipe for stuffing, merging two of the topics, AI recipe creativity and favorite foods at Thanksgiving. It was a relatively simple prompt, but Claude provided the following recipe, and he said this link is public, so you may share it, even though it is a Claude link. I wonder if others in the DTNS community would be interested in trying this recipe, and if so, please post pictures and reviews. So let me show you the recipe itself. You won't be able to see the food. You'll just be able to see the recipe for Asian-inspired cornbread. Here it is. Cornbread stuffing with an Asian twist. I'd love to help you create it. What's your flavor profile preference? Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Thai, heat level, protein additions, dietary restrictions. And he said maybe Thai or Japanese, a little spicy but not hot. No protein, no dietary restrictions, feed 6 people. And here it is, Asian fusion cornbread stuffing. 1 box of honey cornbread mix from Krusty's. You know, that traditional Asian company, Krusty's. Add 2 tablespoons chopped scallions. Then for the stuffing, some oil, vegetable or canola oil, a large onion, shiitake mushrooms, 2 stalks of celery, 3 cloves of garlic, tablespoon of fresh ginger minced, a red bell pepper diced, 4 to 5 scallions, and for the liquid and seasonings, 2 cups vegetable broth, 2 tablespoons white miso paste, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a tablespoon of mirin, 1 to 2 teaspoons of sambal oelek or sriracha, 1 teaspoon sesame oil, and zest of 1 lime. Then you need some cilantro, some Thai basil, 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, and a tablespoon of furikake seasoning. And then you put that all together this way. I'm not going to read all of those, but there you go. That is a delicious looking cornbread from Howard. So yeah, if you try this, I will make sure this is in the show notes for today's office hours, except on LinkedIn. If you're watching on LinkedIn, you'll have to go to one of the other places like YouTube or Twitch, because LinkedIn wouldn't take all the show notes when I put it in there. It's like, that's too much text for a post about a video. Stop it. But everybody else, I will send that to you. Thank you, Howard. Diana says, I think the whole anti-cheat thing, I think this is supposed to be cheat. I think the whole anti-cheat thing is a total cop-out. There are thousands of games on Steam that don't have anti-cheat on, don't even have multiplayer. Anti-cheat is, boy, autocorrect is not being kind to Diana. I apologize, Diana. Anti-cheat is a thing for a small minority of gamers who play a certain kind of game and care about people cheating. Yes, that is all true. I don't disagree with a thing that you actually wrote, not the autocorrect wrote. But I think there's still a legitimate objection to saying, if we are going to put in the effort to make this operating system, we need to have those big games that require anti-cheat. I totally get what you're saying. Like, you can put a game on there without anti-cheat. Plenty of games are out there without anti-cheat. But when you're talking about, is it worth doing? Am I going to get enough people using it? Then I think it makes sense to say, you know what? I need to have anti-cheat working in order to make it pay off. Otherwise, I'm just throwing money out the door. And if Valve was a nonprofit, then sure, but it's not. It's not an open source project. It's a for-profit company. So I know it's not fashionable to want people to actually make money at anything these days, but I think it's reasonable for them to say, like, well, we're going to have to get those big game companies on board if we're going to make this worth the effort. R.W. Nash posts so many good things. So I'm picking a best of from R.W. Nash's comments on Patreon. I encourage you to come and join R.W. Nash and join the Patreon and read R.W. Nash's comments, because he's great. I have picked a selection of his posts from this week, including some links to his videos that I played on Office Hours yesterday, but those will be in the show notes as well. Rob Dunwood sneaking in the Office Hours. I see you over there. You want to join whenever you're ready. Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on, man?
It's good of you to drop by.
Yeah, I figured, we're going to a holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to do live on Thursday, so I come hang out with you today, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. That's great. I know you mentioned you were going to try to swing by, so I'm very happy you were able to make it work. Oh, yeah. So I'm in the middle of the mailbag, and I was explaining that I selected some of the best of R.W. Nash's many posts from this week. So it's going to be like a best of. He said, this was in reaction to our discussion of whether there is a bubble or not, AI bubble or not. He said, so no bubble or burst bubble. I'm going with yet. In other power supply related news, 3 power cuts in Ponte yesterday, which is where he is. One, whilst I was lunching in the tumble. The tills are electrically powered. However, the real ale hand pumps are well handled powered, so we got off lightly. However, no Wi-Fi. Worried that Jason Howell will be coming down with something nasty. Hope it just goes away. Win on ARM. If I was getting a new Windows box, it would be ARM based. He says, good news, 2 reviews. And he's got a link to his review of the 15-ounce mug that has the Len Peralta art on it, and a link to the DTNS pint glass. So let me just I'm just going to put up his channel here. It's the Roger Nash channel. I talked about it on Office Hours yesterday, but he's got lots of stuff on there, including the DTNS US pint glass review and the DTNS 15-ounce Christmas mug review. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I was very, very pleased that Roger did that. It was very cool. I sent him the pint glass, but he just bought the mug on his own and did the review. I appreciate that. He was happy that Jen Cutter was back. Even better, Jen Cutter's mom is back, because Jen mentioned doing some stuff for her mom. Can confirm that the merch is top quality. Traffic disruption, use Waze. No Waymos in the lower Rhymney Valley in Wales. Thank you for the glass. And pointed out that Geekazine used to do a CES back channel, just a flip camera recording walking around, setting up, having meals. So I'm wondering if maybe we do something like that. Not all the time, but some of the time.
I've been thinking about getting one of those harnesses that you put on your backpack strap.
Yeah.
That I could just sit my camera in.
Yeah.
And just turn it on, because I'm using like an Osmo Pocket or a one of the DJI Action 6, or the 2 cameras that I'm probably bringing to CES. I could just literally put that onto my backpack strap and just walk around, and it just gets video of what it gets.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of folks
kind of
doing
a fly on the wall tour of CES, basically.
Right. And if there's anything, when you're going over the footage, if anything, spectacular stands out, you can just do voiceover for it after the fact.
Yeah, do a little like best of cuts out. Yeah, I love that. I wouldn't mind streaming sometimes too. We're actually going to do that for Patreon in the evenings. We're going to stream to Patreon only. Maybe we'll stream to Substack too, actually. But it's just going to be me, Rob, and Amos kind of decompressing at the end of the day. Very raw stuff. So maybe we'll do that some other times when we're out on the floor and stuff.
Now, I will give all props to those guys that will walk around with not just a regular backpack for a laptop, but it's like a camping backpack where they've got battery and antennas and selfie sticks coming out of the back of the backpack with big cameras on it, and they're live streaming it as they're actually walking around. But that's a young man's game.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Those folks all look like they were born in the past 85. For those of us born in the early 70s, I'd try to walk around with 60 pounds of gear on my back.
My back is not going to allow that, even if I wanted to do it. Right. Last week we read Bill Russell's story about how he became an instructor for a TI computer camp. And he wrote back, said, I'm glad you enjoyed the rest of the story. It was great hearing you reading it out. You've inspired me to clean it up a little and embellish it just a little, and then post it on LinkedIn as an article. So if you liked Bill's, my reading of Bill's story, there'll be more to it when he posts on LinkedIn. So keep an eye out for that. He promised to tag me, so I'll make sure to pass it along as well. And then Bill also said, on the topic of Plex and streaming, firstly, my experience with ripping 4K discs is that the file sizes tend to be around 60 gigs to 70 gigs. By the way, if you're like, where'd this topic come from? We were talking about this on the Hangout on Friday. Bill said, my largest movies are the extended Lord of the Rings, which get up somewhere around 130 gigabytes. Second, I'll hop on the wagon with frustration about where to find stuff online. What really irked me and sent me to watch mostly Plex was HBO. Some years ago, I wanted to watch the Harry Potter movies in 4K. I could rent them at like $8 a piece or buy them, but surely HBO would have them, right? Since HBO is owned by the company that has the rights to Harry Potter. Warner Brothers made Harry Potter. Warner Brothers owns HBO. You'd think HBO would have Harry Potter. No, can only rent it. Might be different now. I'm assuming it came down to an agreement HBO had with the digital rentals. I can tell you that it's because they licensed it out to somebody else. I think Peacock had it for streaming for a while.
Right.
Thirdly, is what was talked about when it came to watching older stuff. Who has it this month? When will the Drew Carey Show be streamable? Hint, only last year. I've got more than 35 terabytes of content on my Plex server now. Streaming services have pushed me to value physical content. Last note, which is a tangent on the topic of piracy, Gabe Newell said it best. Piracy is almost always a service problem and not a pricing problem. If some magical new service came out and had everything, and I mean everything in the highest quality, I'd gladly spend $60 a month or probably more on it. But because every company is motivated to make the most money it can, they use their content rights as weapons in the fight to make more money. And in the end, I feel like this only hurts the consumer. Just my 5 cents. We're short on pennies, so I rounded up from the original 2 cents.
I feel them. Just the other day, I saw a clip of Airwolf from back in the day. I used to watch that when I was a kid. So I'm looking, where can I find Airwolf? And it's like, I can find it pretty easily, but I can't find it easily. I can't find it legally easily at all. And that's part of the problem. Like, the content's out there because it's out there. So if someone could get in front of all these different places where content exists and say, hey, we're going to put an interface up and we'll put a paywall up so people can buy it. We'll take a VIG off the top, but just make the stuff that you have sitting on a server somewhere accessible and allow people to purchase it. I think people would. Yeah.
I wish there were a more sensible feeling amongst the folks out there. By the way, I messed up. That was not Bill Russell. That was Bill Shields. Bill Russell was the Plex stuff. Bill Shields was the TI stuff. So apologies to both Bills for confusing them into one Bill. My dad was named Bill. Neither one of them are my dad either. Those are 3 different Bills. Bill Merritt, Bill Russell, Bill Shields. Bill Shields was the TI guy. Bill Russell was the Plex guy. Bill Merritt was my dad. Okay, now that
Bill
we got
is
that.
a pretty popular name. It's right up there with John and David and Michael.
And Tom and Rob.
Yeah.
So I wish there would be more of a, okay, I'm going to start with the way we handle songwriting. If you write a song, it is very easy for me to cover your song. I don't necessarily need to get your permission. I don't have to go and say, Rob, you wrote this song. May I please sing it? I sing it, I publish it, and there is a automatic way to share royalties. Now, it's not exactly that simple. There are a few other things you have to join the service where you pay the royalties and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And there are ways for a songwriter to deny someone the ability to perform their song. But by and large, they make it really easy. If I just want to get up on stage and sing a song, I can do it, and then I will pay a mechanical royalty for it. We need something like that for old video stuff. And YouTube kind of tried to do it with Content ID, right? Where they're like, hey, if this matches your property, you could just monetize it and you make the money off of it. But I wish it was even more like that, so that it was easy for someone to say, hey, I want to take these, and maybe we just make it for stuff that's older than 20 years old, right? Or something like that. Mm-hmm. I want to make these part of my service. There's a mechanical thing I pay to add it to my service.
That is a really cool idea. And one of the reasons that it works in the music industry is because you have a lot of writers, you have a lot of people who actually perform the music, and they're not big companies. They're just people essentially doing a job. Now, it might be a cool job if you are a musician or you're a singer, songwriter, what have you, but they kind of want their stuff to be out there. And if people are saying, hey, I'm covering your song, I'd love to pay you for it. Please make that easy to have people not only cover my song, but to pay me for it.
Yeah.
Whereas with TV and with movies, it's not until recently. This is a new thing to where people are literally putting up, Netflix quality stuff on cameras that they bought from Best Buy. And, they're doing it, in their teens. That is a relatively new thing. But with media, it's these ginormous companies that they just move so slowly on this stuff. So it's like it's in their interest to do it. It's just that we just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah. And granted, the analogy to TV shows and movies is more recordings, not performances, and recordings are not as easy to host and distribute. And I wish those were as well. I wish it was easy for everybody to make money off their stuff is what I'm saying. Like make it easy for me to help you make money. I would love a service where I could just be a DJ. And I know there's a bunch of services that are kind of close to what I'm thinking of, but just like, let me play music. And you monetize it, you make money, the artists get money, and I just like make my own station. The problem is usually in the scale. Nobody wants to be the one who starts that because it's too small at the start. And so they're like, yeah, we can make way more money doing this other thing. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, back in the day, we just recorded what was on the radio right onto a 8-track or a cassette tape. And then you would dub it. And literally, I remember kids in high school and not even before high school, in middle school, that their side hustle was making mixtapes for people and passing around. It wasn't their stuff. They were just getting stuff off the radio because it's like, well, I'm not going to buy the CD for just one song. Yeah. But if you could get me that one song and this other song that I like with it, that's what they were doing. It's absolutely illegal to do those things, but that's what was being done.
Illegal to distribute it for sure. Legal to do it for yourself.
Right.
I don't think it's because companies are too greedy that this is a problem. I think it's actually fine that Warner Brothers says, hey, we can make more money licensing this out to Peacock than we can if we just keep it, because it exposes it to a bunch of people who don't have HBO. And while Bill knew that this was an HBO property, most people don't. What I think solves it is not everybody, like every company must be limited to hosting their own stuff. It's more just make it easy for me to say, where can I watch the thing and how much is it? Right?
I don't know, Tom. I don't want to date myself, but back in the day, we used to get these little half magazines called TV Guide. And they just came in the mail every month or so. Yep. And you could just open it up and you could just see everything that was in there, and it would tell you how to get to it. Now, clearly we would need that book would be, it would be massive if it were a single book these days. But it seems to me like somebody could create a website that would do something similar. But you said this earlier. Is the initial squeeze worth the juice? Probably not. It'd have to be an enthusiast with a lot of money that would want to do it, to just say, hey, I'm just going to do this to make the world a better place, and then let it catch on. And then other companies say, oh, that works. Let's use that. And that's usually how these things happen. Yeah. But it's really slow moving. Well,
every platform tries to do that. Apple does it. Roku does it. Google TV does it. Fire does it. They all try to be like, we will track what you watch, let you know when there's a new episode on, and let you search to find something, and then just tell you where to play it. The problem is none of them are comprehensive, because you have companies who want to own the relationship between you and your search. And so Netflix doesn't let companies include it unless they agree to some terms on data sharing, which is why you don't see Netflix on Apple TV showing up in the search. You don't see Netflix shows showing up on the here's what you should watch next on the Apple TV app. And again, I imagine at some point that'll all work itself out. But we're in that mushy middle right now where everybody's like, no, I think it's more valuable to me to make it worse for the consumer in the short term. So
yeah, I envision something like an RSS file for all the companies that hold content to where they could just publish it. Here's all of our stuff.
Right.
That you can get access to. I mean, you just put that into a file, then let directories subscribe to the file. And then the directories can figure out how they want to display that to, as far as to whom they want to display it to. But once again, well, wait, I want my stuff to be on top of HBO.
Yeah.
No, HBO wants its stuff to be on top of you. So those kind of things are, endemic of the big houses that have all the content. But the problem is figure outable. Like I said, I'm just thinking it would be something more elegant than RSS, but a nice RSS file where you just publish, here's what we have.
Yeah.
And push it to a directory and then let the directory figure out how people can, connect up to it.
There's all kinds of things that are really close, right? Yeah. It's just all of them have something where like, well, it works, but not for this, or it works, but it's not always up to date. Or, it's like, there's always just like, we're so close to it. Because Netflix is like, I don't want you clicking on an RSS feed and getting to Stranger Things. I want you to open the Netflix app so I can show you a bunch of other stuff with the hopes that you'll say, ooh, when Stranger Things is done, I want to watch that, right? They don't want to lose that relationship. They don't want to lose that customer flow.
That customer data that they get from that, knowing what you're watching and how you got to what you're watching, that is invaluable information for them. So I understand their problem, their issue with it. But like I said, it just doesn't make it easy for the folks who want, hey, I want to pay somebody for it. You guys are just making it too darn hard. It's not hard to find content. It's hard to find content that you pay for.
And I think sometimes we get caught up, and I know you're really good about this, which is one of the reasons I'm bringing it up. We get caught up with like, well, when I subscribe to something, I have to stay subscribed. Right. We kind of were trained by cable with that, but you don't have to. And so I try to think of it as, if I'm subscribing to Paramount to watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds, at the worst, I'm going to pay for 3 months of Paramount. Let's say it's $10 a month. So I'm paying $30 for a season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds to watch it. Not to have it, to watch it. Is that worth it to me? Some people that's too much. Some people that is like, yeah, that's fine. I'll pay $10 a month just to watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But instead we think, well, I don't want to have to subscribe to Paramount and pay for all that other stuff. I'm like, forget the other stuff. Just what is it you want to watch? Or you could be like Rob Dunwood and wait until the last week of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, pay for 1 month and then just watch it all in that month. And then jump right back out. Just cancel it.
I am. If you look up serial churner, you might see a picture of me.
Picture of you,
because I'm using services. Apple TV makes it really easy, and Amazon Prime Video makes it really, really easy to do because there's so many other services you can subscribe to within that service.
Yeah.
So for me, I just, we've talked about this on other shows. I am a creature of writing stuff down. If I intend to remember it, I write it down somewhere, and I use digital notes. So I've got calendars and to-do lists to just tell me, hey, this is coming out, resubscribe. Hey, you're done watching this, cancel. So I don't have to remember. It's an application telling me to remember. And it just works for me because I'm already doing everything inside of digital notes. But because of that, because I'm anal in that way, it makes it so easy to where I literally am canceling and subscribing to 2 or 3 services darn near every single month.
Yeah. Now, not everybody's going to want to go through all of that. I get that. But not everybody wants to go through maintaining a Plex library either. Like there's work involved with that too. I think sometimes people forget like, what you consider enjoyable and worth your time is not the same for everybody. So, it would be nice if there was just one streaming package for everything, but I'm glad there's not just one company that owns it, because then it would be prohibitively expensive, or as I would call it, cable.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about the streaming services. There's a bunch of them, and they're competing with each other. And there are going to be some folks out there that they're going to have all the things, and they're going to be paying, if not as much as they paid for their old cable bill, if not more for it, because there are other things that were never available via cable. But and I think about this, I know folks who have, many terabytes of content in a NAS system that they've got set up just so they can have all of their content. And I'm thinking, like, would you pay for that to keep that up and going? How much easier it would be to just go and buy the content and just watch it in some platform.
Yeah.
So, and for a lot of folks, I know some folks, I let that Plex server go. It was just, would it cost me to have to get new drives because those drives are really old and I was going to have to replace drives?
Yeah.
I'll just sign up to Netflix and just download what I want when I want.
And the
right from
and
wherever I want to download it from.
Yeah. The average cable TV only subscription in the U.S. is anywhere between $88 and $101, depending on how you calculate it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're paying for streaming services, is any of the ones you're using to replace cable. And I don't count Netflix. Netflix has never been on cable. Mm-hmm. So if you're buying Netflix, you're buying it separately. It's not like you would have had Netflix as part of your cable. Put an asterisk in that because that's changing, but generally speaking. So if you're like, oh, well, I've got $88 to $100 to spend on streaming per month instead of having cable to get my sports and my news and the primetime television shows, you can handle a few subscriptions. You can handle 3 or 4 subscriptions, maybe more, depending on which ones you're getting. With that amount of money, and you can turn them on and off. Like Rob's saying, you can just be like, oh, the thing I watch is out of season. I'll turn it off until it comes back next season. So I think that's a better way to think about all this stuff.
I won't be shocked if we start to see more people using HD antennas to pull stuff over the air, because my gut tells me is that most people are simply unaware of how much content they can get for free over the air, just by putting a small antenna in the window, or if they really want to get a lot of stuff, maybe putting a little larger antenna on the roof. But there is an enormous amount of content. I'm thinking of my mom, who has not had a cable subscription in years. She is I don't want to say she cut the cord. She just got rid of cable because she didn't watch TV.
Yeah.
And it was like, I watched 2 channels, and I don't need to have this bill in my life. But she has not had cable TV probably pushing, it's definitely 12 years, but it might be closer to 15 years.
Yeah. So
it's been a long time. Now, what she does is when folks come to the house, like, when it's my siblings or, we've actually got she's got adult grandchildren now. It's like, hey, you got Netflix on your phone. You want to watch Netflix? Just stream it to the TV. Yeah. If you want to do this, whatever you want to come to the house and watch, make sure you have it on your phone, because I'm not buying it. It's kind of how my mom says. So it works for her, but she's got an old TV antenna from back in the day that goes up like 60 feet in the backyard. And my younger brother actually put an HD antenna on that. Uh-huh. So where she lives, she can pull channels from Akron, Ohio, from Youngstown, Ohio, where she's living, from Pittsburgh, which is only about 70 miles away, from Cleveland, which is only about 70 miles away. And on really, really clear days, she can get stuff from from Western New York. Not as far west as Buffalo, but like, around Erie, around Erie and stuff like that. She can get a lot of stuff. So she's getting hundreds of channels on HD. It's like, why do I need to buy anything when you can just watch this? Now there are the downsides of HD. It stutters every now and again. Unless you are just willing to go get some extravagant setup, you may be able to watch 2 channels simultaneously, in the house. But for her, it's her and whatever grandkid happens to be over that day. So it's a great situation for her.
Yeah. It's it depends on what you need. I think a lot of people approach it as, well, I want to have access to everything that was on cable. And it's like, but did you watch everything that was on cable? Some people want to be able to watch the new shows. If Pluribus is the new show, I want to watch that. If the Chair Company is the new show, I want to watch that. But some people are like, I just want to turn on TV sometimes and see what's on. I don't really care. And over-the-air antenna is perfect for that, because you get sports and news and foreign programming and old shows and new shows. You get a nice variety if you're not picky about it. To me, the only reason people won't do antenna is because they would have to do work. They'd have to buy one and figure out how to put it in a window. And you can get a lot of that kind of stuff from free streaming like Pluto and Zumo and those kinds of places. So if you have that and you know how to use that, then maybe you're not going to bother to get the streaming antenna. But yeah, it's a great solution. And I went and hooked my antenna back up recently. There was a misunderstanding over how to get a local football game that made me do it. But when I did it, I was like, oh, right. I have access to all this stuff. Now, granted, the 2 times I've thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to use the over the air antenna because I won't get a delay. I'll be able to get it immediately, and my phone won't tell me what happened before it happens on the game. Those were on the channel that I don't get with my antennas that are in the window. So Fox is the one station that just doesn't come in unless I were to put something up on the roof, which I might, but I haven't got around to that.
So it's getting easier to put the antennas where you get the best reception, not necessarily where you have a television. Because if you get a device like a Tableau, you literally can just go put if it requires you have Wi-Fi, good Wi-Fi in your home. But you can literally go put this up in a window in an attic. The highest point, the higher you are, the better HD antennas work. So if you can get it up high, it used to be, well, I don't have to run wire down and do all this stuff. Now, all you need to do is just have power there. And even if it is like for my mom, it is a light switch in the attic that we took the light bulb out of, put a plug in there, and then put the light back into the bottom of the plug, and we run an extension cord from that over towards the window where there is no plug, and it's the antenna that is in the window. Now, that's how she initially had it set up. Like I said, since then my brother's actually gone and put a outdoor antenna up on a pole behind the house, and she really is living large with that now. But that worked fine for probably the first 5 or 6 years that she was trying to get HD channel.
Yeah. I actually use a splitter. I have 2 of those flat window HD antennas. And I put one of them on one part of the house and one on the other part of the house. And I have an old splitter that I run them into and then run them into the TV. And the 2 signals combined actually strengthen each other. And then one direction can pick up a couple of channels that the other direction can't. It's just that Fox just doesn't come to me over the air because of the geography. So I'd have to get way up high to get it.
That is a great idea. I never thought about multiplexing.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially that's what you're doing. You plug, it's just you plug 2 coaxials into a splitter and then you run one off of it and you get signals coming from both of them.
Yeah,
that's actually brilliant.
It works pretty well too. I don't get Fox, but I get pretty much everything else. All the Spanish channels and the Korean channels, the Vietnamese channels, the Chinese channels, and ION, all that stuff.
Now I've got a TV sitting over here to the right. I'm down in my basement and I don't have a antenna on this one. But when I turn it on, I probably get 12, 13 channels, even without even having an antenna on it. Well, there's an antenna on the TV.
On the TV.
Just one of those ones, just coaxial right out, and it's just slapped right to the back of the television. But that's down in my basement, and I'm still getting, a few channels. Now I know that if I were to put that in a window upstairs, the number of channels I would get would probably quadruple. But it actually gets channels down in my basement with a antenna physically on the TV. Now the TV is not far from a window, but still it's down underground, 6 feet, below the window. So it's kind of interesting that actually works.
Ken Warf says they actually make a signal joiner. I wonder what that does that a splitter doesn't do. I guess it provides a little power boost or something. Because basically what I'm doing is it's an older version of this Channel Master. Here, let me no, that's the wrong one. Here, let me get on the screen that I'm sharing. But yeah, it's just a. Now I'm confused. Where is the thing that I'm? But anyway, yeah, here we go. Antenna signal combiner. This is what mine looks like.
Yeah, that's the old school right there that we always had.
Yeah. It's just something like that. So I don't know if there's a signal joiner that does a little more magic than that. Amish Overlord has 3 TVs, each with their own indoor antenna. Some rooms get some channels and other rooms don't. You should just hook up a Tableau to one of them and then you can just share it.
Tableaus, I'm a fan of these things. They're not expensive. You can the lower end ones are like, they start at like $109 to $130 or so. They just work.
I had one for the longest time, and then I just found that I wasn't using it all that often, and I got rid of it. But it's a really easy thing to use. Here, I'll throw that one up there. Hey, they even have a Black Friday sale. They're cool looking now. The one I had was all square. It was like first generation. Now they look like a little UFO. But yeah, you just plug it in with your antenna and then share it basically to an app on your TV. Or your Roku or whatever,
right?
You know, and then you're just sharing all of your stuff wherever. It's good stuff.
Yeah, you can plug hard drives into them. So if you want to actually download anything that you're getting over the air, so you can watch it later, you have the ability to do that as well.
So I pulled this TV guide out. This is the last TV guide that was in the small format before they made it into more of a magazine size format. And then they don't even print them anymore. This is from October 9th through the 16th, 2005. What would you like to know was on when? Give me a day and a time.
What was 2005? Let's go with what was on CBS 8:00 Tuesdays.
8:00 on Tuesday. Well, I have to remember what CBS was because it's just got the channel numbers. Yeah. I think CBS is NCIS a CBS show?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Channel 5 then. So it would have been NCIS. For more on the show, see the box on this page. Ziva David joins Gibbs' team, and her first case is the discovery of a Civil War casket containing remains in a Union uniform and a cell phone.
Tom, I would imagine that there are folks who are listening to us right now who have heard of TV Guide but have no idea that TV Guides are actual local.
Yeah. So, the color part in the front was national, and then all the newsprint stuff in the inside was based on your location. Right. I assume this is San Francisco because that's where I lived in 2005.
But I remember, and this is years ago, where I'm from the Warren Youngstown area. Went to go visit one of my aunts, like in the Akron, Kent area, and it just happened to have a TV guide that I was looking at when my mom said, "Hey, let's go." So I got into the car with me, and I distinctly remember it's like, man, none of these channels work. And she's like, because that's the TV guide from the house. Make sure you take it back so we can watch TV when we get home.
When we get home. That's
but yeah,
funny.
It's like it only works in your locale for like the local channels. This is like we were not watching the network channels, but this is back in the day we would have those local channels where you could watch the Brady Bunch and Leave It to Beaver and all that kind of stuff 20, 30 years after it actually aired live on television.
Now they used to have a part of the TV guide that would tell you which channels were which, but I don't see that. It's just like, you'll figure it out. I assume this, and it doesn't say what region this is for. Anywhere that I can find, anywhere. But I'm pretty certain it was San Francisco, the San Francisco market. I remember being fascinated when I would like drive down. We'd visit my uncle in Alabama, and I'd be like, "Oh, I want to look at his TV guide because all the channels are different."
Yeah.
And his cable, he had cable TV, and all the cable TV channels were different too. He had TBS when it was just channel 17, out of Atlanta,
the local Atlanta channel.
Yeah.
Way back.
But they pulled it in over the antenna into the cable that he had in Alabama. It was funny.
Yeah, I was having this is a while ago, but I remember having a conversation with some much younger folks, and they simply couldn't comprehend. What do you mean you just watch it when it's on? It's like everything is on all the time. How do you determine what you want to watch? And it's like, well, there were only 3 channels. And then when once I got to like the 8th grade, then Fox came out, you had 4 channels. but Fox went off at 10 o'clock. So you only had like basically 2 hours of prime time on Fox. There were two, maybe three shows. You'd have an hour show and then 2 half-hour sitcoms, and that's all you got on Fox at night. So it was easy to do. But it's like, there were only 3 network channels and then Fox by the time I got to middle school. And it was easy to do. That's just, there was no reference point of being able to stream anything.
Yeah.
The only way to watch something is if it was actually being aired in real time, unless you were one of those folks who actually used a VCR to record the shows, and you would come back and watch them, which everybody did. You always had that one show that you would try to record, but you weren't doing that with every single show. You were doing that with, 1 or 2 shows, probably not even a week. It might have been 1 or 2 shows a month that just you weren't able to watch it live, so you had to record it so you could come back and watch it after the fact.
Because at best, your VCR tape was only 8 to 12 hours long at slow play, low quality, right? DJ Bastic asks if we ever saw the satellite guide for folks who had a dish, not a DirecTV dish, like a big old
the big
dish.
satellite dish.
Yeah, apparently those things were huge.
I had a buddy that had, his folks had the big giant satellite dish, but I don't remember specifically them having a special TV guide for it. I just remember it was cool to go over to like watch boxing matches and stuff like that, over the house. It's my friend. It was my parents' friend as well. Because like my dad, that's where we went, and all of their friends went to watch the fights, because you could watch whatever on those satellites. I'm too young to remember how everything was working, but I do remember it was cool that you could just go and watch. You don't have HBO, but you can watch HBO. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Farnsworth, our baseball coach, had a dish, and he would watch, he would show off basically the fact that you could watch the baseball game of the week. I think it was NBC at the time had it. And then hear them talking during the commercials, because you were getting the straight satellite feed instead of, the one that went to the stations themselves. It was pretty fun. Oh, I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about more and more cable services like Comcast and Spectrum and all of those are adding Netflix and Peacock and Paramount Plus as part of their service. And I think that's really smart, because if you haven't left cable, that's one less reason to leave. You're like, oh, well, if I'm just going to get Netflix as part of my Comcast subscription, then, I'll keep cable for a little longer. And it might even bring some people back to cable if they're like, well, I'm paying for internet, and if they're going to give me a discount to add TV and I get Peacock and Netflix and Paramount, starts to make sense.
It absolutely does, because those services individually through their apps are more expensive than getting them all bundled through your cable subscription. So that is something that I've actually thought about. Now, I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet, but I have a really, really good internet package, on my, that I have my home. For an additional $8, I get basic cable with it. So I do have cable. I think there is like the TV in my garage maybe is actually got the coax plugged into it, and I'm using the actual cable tuner on it. I don't really use that on most of the TVs in the house, but cable companies are getting ingenious with what they can do to keep you from leaving or to get you to come back. And for me, it was like, if I upgrade to this speed, man, cable's only $8. I might as well just go ahead and get that, for $8 just to have it in case, there's a problem with the internet, the cable still works. So they're
this is
$8 for me to watch it once or twice a year in my garage.
This is the Spectrum site right now. And look, they've got HBO Max, Peacock, the ESPN app, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, ViX. Those are all included in your package. Now, I'd have to give my address and all that to figure out like what the actual amount is, but those aren't add-ons. It's not like you're paying extra. They're in your cable package, and then you log in and authenticate the way you do with like phone. Like I get a discount on Netflix, and I think T-Mobile's getting rid of it, but I get free Apple TV Plus by authenticating it with T-Mobile, so that T-Mobile pays it. But I keep my account for Apple TV and all of that. I don't have to create a separate account.
It's a smart move by the cable companies.
Yep.
Because once they lose you, it's hard to get somebody to come back. But if they can keep you from going, so wait a minute, I'm probably going to, if I cut the cord, I'm probably going to get Peacock and Paramount and we're already watching this. Might as well just keep cable and just have it come in. It's less money to get those things and have it stay cable.
Yeah.
And and to be clear for folks who aren't, you're not watching through the cable. These are you just now have the apps. You can install the app on pretty much whatever you want, just like you can when you are getting the app directly from Paramount or directly from Peacock.
They will have the apps on their boxes sometimes, like the Xfinity box if you're using that, but you don't have to. You're just authenticating your existing account through cable, and then it's paying for it, which is nice. I went to the TV Guide website, and it's all about Netflix, Hulu. They haven't updated the HBO Max logo yet. It still says Max. They haven't updated Apple TV Plus to say Apple TV. But yeah, I don't even know who owns TV Guide anymore. It used to be owned by CBS. When I worked at CNET, it was part of that, but I don't know who has it now.
Tom, do you still have magazines that come to the house?
I do. I have Scientific American. I have the Financial Times Weekend edition newspaper. And that's it. What about you?
We have Wired. I've had a Wired subscription forever. It's been decades that I've had that. And I have Black Enterprise. And then my wife gets something. Cosmopolitan or I can't remember. She gets something. I don't really look at it, so I can't remember exactly what it is. But we still have 3.
Yeah.
But it's like they're almost more decoration than anything else. It's pretty rare that I actually look at them, or I'll look at them and then I'll go online to see is there an update? Is there more information online? Because it really is. If you get a magazine, it only comes out once a month. There could have been a correction that will immediately hit the website, but you have to wait until the next month.
Yeah.
To be updated in the magazine.
I used to read Scientific American cover to cover, starting in the early 90s. I would actually go buy it every month at the store. And then eventually I subscribed and I would read it cover to cover. But honestly, it's less about the print aspect of it and more just the target that they cover has changed over the years. It's gone from being very much written by scientists to becoming more of a news thing. And as that happened, it's not that I minded that so much, but I'm like, I can get the same information on the web. I'm getting it just reading about tech news every day from Ars Technica and IEEE and New Science Daily. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep Scientific and American because I don't read them cover to cover like I used to.
Our access to all the information that has ever been digitized, literally at our fingertips, in a phone, is just incredible. I mean, you and I are the age that we remember going to libraries to get encyclopedias if we didn't have them at grandma's house.
Yes.
Where, we would go in, we would have to look stuff up in books that were written in some cases.
And you'd have to make sure that if you were using an encyclopedia that was a couple years old, that you tried to update, Richard Nixon isn't president anymore. Make sure you don't fall for that mistake when you're writing your book report or whatever.
Exactly. But yeah, my grandparents had Encyclopedia Britannica. My dad had it. I remember my dad getting it around the time I was in maybe the 6th or 7th grade. And that thing lasted all the way through high school. It was we would go back and this is brand new information. This is only 6 years old. This is the hottest stuff. And you think about today, you can't even comprehend going to a resource that was written 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I want the stuff that came out 6 minutes ago, let alone 6 years ago.
Yeah. And it's all available for free.
Yeah.
With no additional cost, right, to your internet subscription. Yeah, I actually like encyclopedias. Weirdly, though, I just recently subscribed to the Financial Times Weekend because I was buying the digital and they offered it. And I was like, you know what, let me try it. I kind of like having one print version a week that I can just kind of sit in the backyard and open the paper. And there's something calming about it because you're not distracted. You're not pulled into by a notification. So I might keep that one around. I think there's still a place for the print as sort of a break from the onslaught, but it's not I need to have the latest. It's more like, I want a review of the week, right? It's a more, I don't know, laid back way of looking at info.
Yeah, and a lot of times what magazines are doing now, or newspapers, they'll have the article that you're reading, but you can just scan it. It'll either have the QR code, or it'll just have the actual URL print right there in the in the magazine, and you just put your phone over it, it scans it, you click on it, and you're now opening up additional information about the thing you were reading.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. This was an excellent office hours, mostly because you dropped by, Rob. Thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
We have a holiday weekend. I wasn't doing anything today. I was like, hey, let me go hang out with Tom for a bit.
That's awesome. We should do that more often. Like I said, CES plans underway. Rob's going to be there. Do you know what kind of DTNS apparel you might want? Did you take a look at the Discord?
I looked at the hoodie that you created. That's fine for me.
Okay.
I think it serves the purpose, while we're standing around getting interviews from people.
Yeah.
And we will be noticeable. If for no other reason that all of us are incredibly tall. So
yeah, I'm the short guy. When it's Rob Amos and me, I'm the short guy. And I'm not that short.
And if Jason were to pop around.
Oh my God. Yeah. Jason will be there. So. Yeah.
Jason's there. He's what, 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all well over 6 feet tall. And then like, if we're wearing those t-shirts, I think it'll just, not t-shirts, but those hoodies. I think folks will actually notice us when we're going to have the mic banners and all that kind of stuff. We'll look like a professional outfit.
Yeah.
They're getting the hotness on the newness that is there.
Fantastic. All right. That's going to do it for the office hours. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for being a supporter in whatever way you can, even if it's just listening. Until tomorrow's Live With It, then we're off for Thanksgiving in the U.S. on Thursday and Friday. Back with regular DTNS episodes on Monday. There'll be a DTNS tomorrow as well. Have a lovely holiday or a good rest of your week, depending on.
Yeah, have a good holiday, folks.
Happy Thanksgiving, U.S. people.